Okay, so today's dirty fighting technique is called gunny-sacking. Now, if you're anything like me, when I first heard that term, I wasn't really sure what it meant. So I'll tell you, gunny-sacking is taking every problem you've ever encountered with this person, past, present, future, and you put them all in at the same time. You have an argument and it turns into a fight. And you're like, and that time you did this, and the time you did that, and the time you did this, and you bring up all these issues. So now the person's overwhelmed and they have no idea what they should be discussing, fighting, and then they're just putting them in defensive mode. As a matter of fact, every dirty fighting technique that I will discuss does the same thing. It takes you from being on the offense, which is trying to resolve a conflict, and move you into the defense, where I'm deflecting, defending myself. An earlier video I did on the conflict escalation model talked about the issue level, the personality level, and then the relationship level. We need to stay on the issue level, because if we attack the person up here on this personality level, eventually it's going to destroy the relationship. Well, dirty fighting techniques are constantly attacking the personality. It's not the issue. I'm like, you did this, you did that, you did that. Doom, 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 doom. These are arrows that the person has to constantly fight. So the issue with the gunny sacking is, does the person you're talking with, in this case spouse, because that's my favorite, do they even really know what the real issue is? They may have. You may have brought it up initially when you try to keep this at a calm level, but then it just keeps going on to adding everything. And while we're talking about it, you're also really bad at this, and you did that last week, and I was so angry when you did that with the kids, or you did this with my uncle, or when you yelled at the dog. If you want a productive argument, as always, you must stay on the issue. Those things need to be dealt with, but you need to deal with them at a different time, ideally when they first come up, so that they're not totally out of the memory of the person you're talking to them about. But if time has passed, you need to stick with this issue at hand so the person you're discussing with doesn't feel overwhelmed. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to be doing this video on stuffers and escalators. Who handles conflict which way? Some people stuff it in, and explode. And some people, like me, are reformed escalators. It's like, wait, there's an issue. Let me get with it now. Let's talk about it. Let's go, wait, what? Huh? And it gets louder and louder. And so we escalate it, and people feel like, oh my gosh, I'm being, cornered right away. So the reason I bring those up is because in this example, stuffers tend to use gunny sacking more than do escalators. Why? Because escalators bring out an issue as soon as it's on their mind, bam, it's out. They're not bringing up an issue from 1998 because they brought it up in 1998. Now, if it's unresolved, that's a different issue. It's like, I brought it up, you're still not listening, brought it up, you're still not listening, brought it up, you're still not listening. That's why it keeps coming up. But the reason I say that stuffers and then introverts tend to stuff more often than extroverts. So if you're not sure if you're a stuffer or an escalator, but you do think you're an introvert, you may want to think, do I stuff issues in? And so people who tend to stuff will tend to gunny sack, because it's like, well, I hate fighting, I hate arguing, I hate bringing up conflict, I hate issues, I hate dealing with them. But boy, when it finally gets to where it just explodes like a volcano, everything that they've held in is all coming out. It's just all coming out. So it's unproductive. So when you have an issue, despite the fact that there are 3 or 4 or 5 unresolved things that you also can think of, your job, if you really want to get this issue resolved, is to bring up only that issue. Really want it. If you bring up more issues than that, then that's on you. See, we all want to blame our spouses, but they're not watching this video, you are. And I've never done a marriage class where I didn't have every single person in there check off at least 3 of the 10 or 12 dirty fighting techniques. So you have your faults. You have your preferred dirty fighting techniques. And if you want to fix your marriage, don't keep pointing at what they do wrong. I'll work with them eventually, but they're not going to want to work with me and you together if you don't first fix something in you. When they start seeing you like, wow, Sally's really different. Ah, shit. She used to, but now that's what they need to see. They need to see you making this change. Yeah, it's hard. Changing all these are hard. But you're not a moron. You're capable. You can do this. I know a lot of times I tell you, you need my help, I will help you. You know where to find me, breakfastwithbacon.com. But you've got to do your work. Any change you guys want is not going to be easy. You want it to be hard on them, but easy on you. Ain't working that way. Show that you really are invested in your spouse changing their bad habits by changing yours first. So don't gunny sack. You got it? If you've got an issue, think about that issue. Think about the best time to bring up that issue. Plan it. Maybe even write down the pros and cons. And then talk with the person. Again, you can use this with more than just your spouse. It's usually our spouses or family members that we do these dirty fighting techniques with anyway. All right? You ready to get better? Post below. Let me know how this helps. Let me know if you've ever used this dirty fighting technique, and let me know how you intend to practice to do it differently. All right? God bless, and remember to live your life sunny side up.